This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society.
Aloha, y'all. This is Daniel Eisenman, the host of the Breaking Normal podcast, where my guests are all invited based on the frequency of synchronicity, all done in person, and all trailblazers in the breaking of all things normal. Welcome back to the Breaking Normal podcast, y'all. I was just making a note in my meme journal because the guest today said it. He was quoting Mark Twain, and it was, "I would have written you a shorter letter, but I did not have the time." So I'm so thankful that Shawn Heinrichs is sitting across from me with a creative constraint to talk about what matters the most in the moment.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the Breaking Normal podcast.
Such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Cheyenne finally bridged the gap because we have crossed paths in like the funnest of Breaking Normal ways. I think we've crossed paths like 5 or 6 times. This is how I remember it.
Yeah.
Here in Boulder. I think we have a lot of mutual connections, but
of course
you were literally coming out of the freezing creek, or I'm literally coming out of the steaming sauna, and like we're going in different directions, but I keep hearing amazing things about you. And I really got to hear a lot about you recently because you just hosted an event here in Boulder.
Yeah. Ocean Bloom.
Tell us what happened with Ocean Bloom here in Boulder a couple days ago.
Yeah. It's kind of wild because people often ask me, like, what is a ocean guy doing in the Rockies? And I kind of like where the planes crash up on the mountain shores. But the honest truth is, for me, living in Colorado is like this really spiritual, grounded place. The mountains is like, for me, where spirit resides. Mm-hmm. And with the oceans is like heart to me. It's like the healing vessel. It's like the womb of the earth. It's the birthplace of life. And one of the things I've always wanted to do was take this experience, this deep, visceral, like healing Mother Earth experience that I have in the oceans, connecting with these incredible whales and manta rays and dolphins, and bring it to my community in Boulder. And I'm like, well, how do I, would I put them all in a truck and drive them here and create a huge aquarium? Mm-hmm. No. Or I thought maybe I can take everyone, but how am I going to take, thousands of people to the ocean? And this incredible musician, Samuel J., and I have been collaborating for years doing little spoken word events. And we said, why don't we do something here, big scale? So we contacted our friend Allie, and she was like, well, I can help you produce this. And we brought this event to about 1,000 people in the Boulder Theater.
Wow.
And it's a visual storytelling event, but it's not like in a classic sense. It's taking people through storytelling, spoken word, but also instrumentals, live violinists, backup vocals, instrumentals, guitars, all weaving in with the storytelling while we have this 30-foot, 4K screen projecting the very stories that I'm telling, connections with whales and manta rays and dolphins. And then we weave in like a tapestry out of the stories into songs that deepen that feeling that you just had in that story. So imagine 5 minutes of story into 5 minutes of song. And we do that for almost 2 hours.
Wow.
And then we bookend it with these incredible local singers and DJs. And together we create this wonderful sort of artistic musical tapestry that lasts about 6 hours. And so literally your cup is full, but it's full of the ocean. And you come away and people are like, did you try to raise a lot of money? And I'm like, no, that's not the goal. That's a byproduct of when someone falls in love with something that you care about. So the entire mission of Ocean Bloom, which is my mission, is to help people remember what it means to be in real, deep, resonant connection with Mother Earth, to feel it in your bones, in your tissue, in your heart, in your soul. And then from that place, you become interested, passionate, and curious to make a difference. So we get to the heart of it, and then we just let you sail.
Wow. It's amazing that I was not there. Is there another one coming up?
Well, we'll probably do one next year.
Okay.
But we don't just do them in Boulder.
Okay.
We've done them in Bali and Mexico. We have Middle East, several places that want to do it. We have London wanting to do it. We've done several in LA. It's kind of something that's starting to build momentum. And the idea is to make every other month somewhere in the world to a large venue, wow, start bringing the ocean to the people.
Well, the feeling that I get in my body when you're speaking is what you're walking the talk. I feel a little oceanic right? Being here with you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm stoked. And I even recognized, was Ayla Nero at the
Ayla
recent-
she picked up a 90-minute incredible dance, music, electronic vocal set that built like, it was almost like the wave was crashing in, and we opened up the floodgates and just let it pour out into the people.
She's been a guest on the show Yovel before we had the studio. So
Oh, wow.
Next time she comes in town, I would love to have her because she has a similar vibe. Like even I wasn't with her in person like this, but I get a similar oceanic vibe from her.
Everyone in the event was not an accident or like to draw a crowd. You had to be in deep resonant frequency with the mission and the vision and the heart and the soul of the event. And she's definitely that.
Well, how are you from Boulder?
No.
But you live here now.
I do.
How'd that happen?
Long story, right?
Yeah, I am kind of curious about, because before we started the show, we were talking about chronological versus Kairos time, and I wanted you to talk about that.
Yeah.
But chronologically, can you give us a little bullet points of how you got to Boulder?
So actually, I was born in Durban, South Africa.
Okay, wow.
And for the first 7 years of my life, I lived a very different lifestyle than you experience in America. From the age of 2 or 3, I had like 3 brothers and sisters. And my rule was you couldn't leave before sunrise and you had to be home within a half hour of sunset.
Wow.
Old school.
Yeah.
So we would just disappear into the woods, into the wilds. And, there were black mambas and green mambas and baboons and all kinds of stuff, even where I lived. So it was like, it's the real deal. And so my connection with nature wasn't something that, somebody took me on the weekend to go see. It was something that was part of my every breathing moment of my life. And, you wore barefoot or sandals to school and, you were in the forest as the school was just sort of cut into one section on a hillside. So I was always in nature, but just a stone's throw away was the Indian Ocean. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about just any ocean. We're talking about the Cape Horn just south of us. And every winter you'd have the vast migration of sardines called the Sardine Run come roaring up the coast. 10 miles, the ocean would turn black with sardines bubbling up. And you'd see these patterns emerging as the big sharks would be moving through the sardines trying to hunt them. And then from behind, you'd see a pod of 10,000 dolphins come charging in as thousands of Cape gannets come soaring out of the sky and dive bomb into it. And then just to add to it, you'd have whales breaching behind it. So the ocean that I knew as a child was the most bountiful, endless kind of abundance you could have ever imagined. And that's what I thought all the ocean was like. And then I left Africa at 7. My parents were teachers, moved to Northeast Philly. And now I was way away from the ocean. And I started to realize that the life that I thought was everywhere was a very small pocket left on this planet from the life that people were starting to live mostly, which was one of much greater disconnection. Mm-hmm. Cities and buildings and sidewalks and shoes and jackets and color TVs. We didn't have a color TV where I lived. We had 2 hours of television a week. It was like Bonanza and one other show that would turn on for 2 hours on Wednesday from 6 to 8. That was all there was when I was a kid in South Africa. And suddenly everyone has Saturday morning cartoons and everybody was somewhere else, but outside. And so I had to find my little group of friends who wanted to join me. And I would spend every afternoon and every weekend walking along the creeks, looking for fish and eels and exploring the forest that happened to be as close to my house as possible. And that took me up until about, my 20s. And I wound up realizing I needed to earn money. And my parents had 6 kids and they were both teachers and made $30,000 living in America. And that wasn't easy. So I decided I was going to get really smart and really good. And I wound up getting a scholarship to University of Pennsylvania at Wharton School. And I was also a nationally ranked wrestler. So I became a Division I wrestler, captain of the wrestling team, and summa cum laude Wharton graduate. And I was on the track. I had Goldman Sachs offers, I had everything lining up. And I was like, whoa, what is about to happen to my life? Moving to a concrete jungle? And it just hit me in that moment that I just created the very life that I had fled from my entire childhood. And I was about to create it. And then a buddy called me up and said, hey, we're starting this little tech company in Boulder. Can you be our CFO and biz dev guy? And I was like, sure. And I just packed up, no more suits, no nothing, moved up out here, and was wearing barefoot shorts and a t-shirt. And for 12 years, I worked in a tech company right across the street from this office on Spruce and Broadway. And we were doing 3D visualization technology, all kinds of stuff. I wound up setting up deals with countries across the world, governments of Japan, and built this entire business. And then one day I realized I'm doing it again. I'm going to make all the money I could ever need. But the one thing that I crave is nature. And I'd taken up scuba diving at that point. And I had my little camera and I was taking photos underwater. And I was like, wow, this is it. I either become multi-millionaire and I have all the cars and all the houses, or I do what I was put on earth to do. And I remember talking to our CEO and I said, I gotta leave. And he's like, what? Like, you raised $20 million for this company. You did all this stuff. And I was like, I have to leave. And I wound up orchestrating a transaction with NVIDIA, which is now one of the world's most valuable, top 3 valuable companies in the world. And I did a 6-month transition, moved my entire team there. And they offered me the deal I could never refuse. And I said, no way. And they're like, we'll double it. Stock was $2.50 a share then. Last year it went up to $1,100 a share. 500 times. I would have been who knows what. And I walked away from all of it and I got 6 months severance, and that's the only thing I ever got out of that deal. And I just ran to my work, which was I was going to use my camera, my storytelling, to help save the oceans. And I never looked back. And there weren't oceans in Boulder, so I got on a plane a lot.
Wow. Can you give me a timeline of when you left the NVIDIA transition? When was that?
That was 2008.
2008. We are in
17 years ago.
So you've been on this mission for 17 years. How long was the stint here in Boulder with a tech company?
12 years.
12 years. Okay. Wow. All right. So my guess, knowing a little bit that I know about you and a little bit that I know about the ocean, my guess is you're very happy with your decision.
I realized, people were like, think about the deal I turned down. And they were already taken off. And like, I actually chose literally the 2 worlds in the most juxtaposed you could ever imagine. I would have had 100 million easy, like here or here, right? When I remember looking at the VP in the eyes when he made the offer, and I said, there's no amount of money on earth you could offer me to keep me from my purpose. Because I knew at that point, I'd gotten to the point in my life, I tried other things. I tried business school, I tried all the things. And I knew at that point in my life that there's no amount of money on earth that's more important than a man and his purpose. When you are absolutely in devotion to your purpose, you wake up every single day knowing why you're on this earth. Doesn't matter how shitty it was. Doesn't matter how hard the day was. It doesn't matter what's going on. You know why you're here and what you were put to do. And that gets you through everything.
So at age 0 to 7, you were there in Durban?
Yeah.
So it almost seems like your journey, which seems to be the journey of most people, is to go back home.
Go back home.
Metaphorically in a way.
And I did go back home, and I went back and I filmed the sardine run 3 times. I was in with the sharks, in the water with the dolphins, in with the whales, underneath the gannets coming down. And I came back to experience right in the water what I'd always witnessed from the shore as a child.
That's what I was wondering. Were you ever diving as a child?
No, 7, too young.
What a story.
So I came all the way back, circled to my home, and dived right into the spot, which has really driven my entire life from the age of just a small child.
Because you had like the ultimate temptation to take you away from home, and you just decided to return home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
never regret it. I still am absolutely know I made the absolute right decision.
Is there a book or anything about this yet?
Not yet.
No.
There's a movie, Racing Extinction.
Is about the story?
There's about 4 characters in it. It's a real documentary about activists using storytelling to make an impact. And it came out in 2016 on Discovery in 200 countries in 44 languages. And it was the largest environmental documentary release in history at that point. And it covers a big chunk of my work using my camera. There's a whole much more. For the first decade I spent with my camera, I was an undercover environmental journalist. So I went undercover into mafia and triads and shark fin operations around the world. I'd hit orders on me, assassination orders. I had machetes at my throat. I was shot at. I was chased out of countries. I was banned from countries.
This is when you left Boulder. This is when you first got
into. This is when I stepped out.
Okay, stepped out, and that's the first thing you dove into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What do you call this field? Like,
I was an undercover investigator and environmental journalist.
Combined.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you decide to do that? Or like, was there something that triggered you? Like,
yeah. I spent a lot of time in my business development work with the tech company working in Asia. And so I would work in these cities, and you'd go to these areas where the seafood markets,
mm-hmm.
and you would see every single thing in the ocean for sale. You'd see manta ray gills and shark fins and whale shark fins and turtle shell.
Shark fins.
Oh yeah, everything.
Mm-hmm. Turtle what?
Turtle shells and turtle combs and turtle this and turtle that. And it looked like an apocalyptic genocide being waged on the oceans
mm-hmm.
across all of these different cities. And I got sick of it. And so I just started we didn't have phones with cameras back then. So I started taking a little camcorder with me, and that didn't work. And so I just took an SLR the first SLR came out, a Canon, that you could also record video on. I just put a strap around my neck, put it on my head, and I just walk into stores and just start talking to people. So I started filming this entire trade happening. And I had this such deep, unwavering belief in the power of what I was doing that I literally created a force field of protection and invisibility around my recording. And people are like, there's no way you can do that and have them not recording. And I'm like, they have no idea I'm not recording. And one time I remember a guy asked me, he goes, are you recording me? I'm like, no. He's like, okay, just once. And I recorded warehouses with 100,000 fins pouring out of bags. A guy that showed me 6 Sumatran rhino horns that were highly illegal, and he was bragging about how they had just poached them over in Sumatra. And I filmed all this stuff. And I didn't realize at the time that I was operating in triad operations. These guys deal heavy. But I didn't care, honestly. And I started sharing that footage with environmental groups and news agencies. And so I sort of just stepped into it. And then suddenly BBC wanted footage and CNN wanted footage. And, PBS wanted to do a feature. And then Dan Rather wanted to do a feature on my work. And eventually, suddenly, I was becoming one of the preeminent undercover investigators for marine life, for sharks and rays and whales and all kinds of stuff. And so I just went full in, and every month I'd be some crazy part of the world and on a beach in Ecuador, hiding behind stuff, filming the illegal shark fin trade. I'd be undercover in Kesanuma, Japan, in ports where they'd be landing 7,000, 10,000 sharks in a day for a tuna fishery, and whaling ports and all this kind of crazy stuff.
Wow.
It was pretty heavy.
Yeah. Are you still doing that type of work, or like what?
A little bit, but not much.
So then it evolved into this work, that the foundation of that wild world, which I have a million questions about, evolved into.
Well, what I realized is it was around 2015. I had covered everything. If you look up my name in illegal wildlife or shark, you'll see just, and the entire world had been just exposed to the horror of the illegal wildlife trade. It is beyond anything you've ever imagined. The cruelty, the destruction, the soulless barbarism is beyond. And I just, I'd have to have a smile on my face. I just sit there and pretend I was a part of it. And I had all kinds of covers. I was a seafood buyer, seller. I was a tourist that got lost in the alley, and here I am now. And I did all the covers.
Was your cameras visible
the whole time, just sitting around my neck?
That you could just see
right there,
okay.
full on big camera, like sitting
this,
there, just like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Didn't mean to distract. I just
yeah. And so I did that, and at some point I realized I was like, there's no way people can be asleep at this point. They have to know what's going on. And I had this belief that if I showed them the truth, people would do something about it. What I didn't realize is that there's a lot of barbaric things happening in this planet, and people eventually just shut off to it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to know what's going on because it's too much. The only time they want to know is when it's something they deeply care about. And I'd missed a critical step. People weren't in love with these creatures, with these habitats, with the oceans and nature the way I was. And as best as I could do to bring this story, this visceral, powerful, compelling story about destruction, there was no level of shame and blame that was going to ever change anyone. In fact, it was pushing them away. So I remember the day I just said, I can't do that. And I wrote this blog. It's called The Dark Room. And back then people were blogging a lot more. And it got translated by other people into like a dozen languages, and it went across the world. And it was a story into my journey into the heart of darkness on a personal level. It was the first time I ever put my face forward and name for it as the guy doing this, and how it had destroyed my soul and blackened my heart. And the word hope was one of the worst words you could ever use. It was like giving me the finger to say hope, because I had none. And I needed to do something different. And I realized I can help people fall in love. I need to bring them into my heart and into the beauty and underwater with these animals. And so I shifted my entire focus from one of death and destruction to one of connection, love, healing. And wow, I remember the first image I put out, it went to 100 million people. And Yahoo and all the different things just syndicated. And it was people looking over the side of a boat and this giant whale shark kind of looking up under the boat. And it was a split shot, half and half. And I didn't even try to syndicate it. I just was like, this touched my heart. And it just, I was like, whoa, the power of that. And so many messages. What is that? What's a whale shark? Is it a shark? Is it a whale? And then I got to tell the story of this amazing sentient being, but also the threats it was facing. And people cared. They cared.
Wow.
And that's where I really picked it up and started moving into human connection and stories of people connecting with nature, and then diving into my personal connection. And what unfolded was the last decade of work, a body of work about our capacity to connect with sentient beings and habitats, nature, all of it, and how that can heal us, transform us, and bring us in a much deeper, greater sense of resonance. And that resonance is not just good for the planet. It's really good for you and me and our communities and our families.
It's amazing. And I also am curious about your family. What about your sisters and brothers? Are they on similar paths or different paths?
I'm kind of the blue sheep of the family.
Okay.
The ocean sheep.
You're in the colors. I'm like the gray sheep of my family.
Yeah, right?
Actually, yeah.
Most of my family wound up migrating to Boulder, which is great. We've got my parents out here. I got my brothers out here. I got my sister out here. And we all live in the Boulder area. And I'm really close with my family. They're amazingly awesome people. They have more traditional classic jobs. One of my brothers is a doctor. One's an engineer. One's in finance. Wow. My sister's a teacher. But they all love nature. They all love to be outside. We share that connection. But I was always the one on sort of the edge of the extreme. And I knew I couldn't walk that path for me. And I just had to just literally step off the plank and dive in. So it's interesting. It's like my family has held me like, what is up with Shawn? Like, what's up with that guy? And as the stories have unfolded, I did a Netflix series called Tales by Light in 2019 with this amazing director, and several of the episodes feature my work in Indonesia and around the world as a storyteller. And they all got to watch that and they're like, oh, we get it. That's what you're doing. That's why you're doing it. So as my work has become more like, because I used to hide behind the camera as an investigator for a decade. And then me stepping forward was like, oh, finally we know what you do. Because I was always kind of hush-hush, CIA type stuff, right?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's an amazing story. I definitely think a book is in order.
I have two daughters.
That was my other question. What's your family structure? You have two daughters.
I have two daughters. One is 18 and one is 21. And they are incredible. My oldest daughter is one of the top 5 American Ninja Warrior women in the world.
The oldest?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Annabella Heinrichs.
I want to make sure I look her up and show her to my daughter.
She is one of the strongest women I've ever met. She is so powerful, and I train with her twice a week in the ninja gym. My sport is American Ninja Warrior.
Okay.
And I've been on the show with both my daughters, which is really exciting.
What's that episode? We've been, do you know how I find that? Do I just like type y'all's name?
Yeah.
In? Okay.
You'll find us.
What's your other daughter's name? What?
And my other daughter's name is Sakura. And
y'all were all on the show together?
Yeah.
What in the heavens?
And my older daughter, she's been a Vegas finalist 3 times. Like, she's one of the tippy top.
Okay.
Like, beating most of the matches.
But she lives in Boulder?
She lives in Boulder.
So she could do the 100 Sundays with us?
Yeah.
If she wants to.
Love it.
We do 100 pull-ups at 1 p.m. on Sundays at Evan G. Fine Park.
Yeah.
And we keep theorizing. There's like a debate if a girl can do it or not. We don't do 100. What we do is a pyramid. So we do 1 and then 2 all the way to 10.
Yeah.
And then back down 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Oh, there's
2.
no question she could do that.
Well, we might. We need to. Yeah, we would love to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's bring it on, because there's a lot of women wondering what to do in this. And we had a girl in San Diego.
She just locked in her 1-arm pull-up.
Whoa!
I can't do a 1-arm
Wait,
pull-up.
with Sequoia. Wait, Annabelle. Wow.
Yeah.
Are they on social media where people? Because I have a feeling I have an athletic group I think that follows me. So they're intrigued by this.
Now, she's phenomenal. She's got multiple top 5 world placements and all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
She trains here.
She trains mostly in Longmont.
Okay.
Arc Ninja with the community out there.
Wow.
We have like 3 of the top 5 women in the world who train in Longmont, Boulder area.
Okay.
And then another 2 amazing ones.
Well, I used to host health retreats, like and I might still do this in the future. And we've sprinkled in some things, but we had this late girl at our retreats in Kauai named Jessie Graff.
Oh yeah,
she was strong. That's why I like
tell the group. Competes with Jessie.
Okay, so she's still competing, Jessie. Yeah. Oh man,
Jessie's one of the longest time women competitors out there.
That's what I was telling you, Vel. I was like, if Jessie was here, she could do 100 Sundays for sure.
Yeah.
Wow, where's Jessie living these days?
She's in California, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Jessie.
Yeah, she came to our retreat in it must have been like 2019.
Wow.
No, maybe earlier, but yeah, it was a big one. It was our biggest one we ever did in Kilauea.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I might be able to do your 100. The most I can do is 25 pull-ups in a row.
Oh, that means you can do it. I think anyone that can do. Yeah, we're not pushing it that hard.
Can do for sure.
Yeah, like we're doing 10 max at once.
Yeah.
So it's a pyramid style.
We do these sets. We do sets where we do 10 seconds off, 10 seconds on, and you try to do 10 across. So you try to do 80 in 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off.
Okay.
I can get to like 70.
Oh yeah. Where do you do this with your daughters?
We do this as burnouts at the Ninja Gym. If you want the strongest hanging, pulling. There was a 9-year-old in the gym yesterday who did a 40-minute dead hang.
What the fuck?
What do you mean? Do you mean he didn't take
She
hung
on the bar for 40 minutes
and didn't take one arm off?
She shook out it.
So she would shake back and forth.
Yeah, but for 40
minutes. I didn't. How old? 9?
9.
Is that a world record or no?
I don't know if it's not. Yeah. But it's like she got bored. Her mom put a YouTube video in front of her. And eventually she's like, Mom, I'm bored.
I'm going to have to go check this gym out with my daughter.
Yeah, come
for
to
the sheer company.
Arc Ninja.
Okay.
ARK Ninja.
What in the world? That is impressive. Well, that's amazing. I mean, you look extremely fit. How old are you?
I'm 54.
54. Yeah, I know quite a bit of inspirational people in my life, and a lot of the men that seem to age really well are obsessed with the ocean.
Yeah, it's good for me. I've been in the ocean. People are like, you got to worry about the sun. I get so much sun. But if I go to a skin doctor and they're like, wow, you have I have silk skin. They're like, how's your skin so healthy? I'm like, a lot of salt water, a lot of sun. So it's been good to me and the family. And then my younger daughter right now, she's in Bali. She's 18. She's taking a gap year and she's into filmmaking, photography like me. Daughters are great divers and free divers. And my younger daughter, she was my media intern for the last 6 months doing my social media videos and all kinds of stuff. And she's trying to figure out where she's going to end up. But really cool daughters.
According to ChatGPT, the world record under age of 10 is 33 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, she just crushed it.
So
She could have done an
according
hour
to
easy.
ChatGPT, allegedly that girl just crushed the record without maybe even being aware of it. I don't even know. Wow.
She's like, Mom, I'm bored.
Wow. How much time has passed by?
30 minutes.
All right, perfect. Is there anything you want to make sure that we talk about? Because like I said, I have a million questions.
Hey, we're doing great.
Do you do a lot of podcasts?
I've done a good number, yeah.
What's your favorite show that you've been on?
What's my favorite show I've been on? You know, what was really fun is I did a Shark Week podcast, and then the guy who's doing the podcast said, "Can we do a second one?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "The shark stuff was great, but your spiritual beliefs and philosophy about connection in life is way more interesting to me." And so he did it again, and I just got to talk about what really matters to me, which is what's happening within our vessel and our connection. And that to me is like, I used to think I was here to save the oceans, but really I realized my work is to help people come back into their being, come back into resonance, and from a place of being aligned and deeply connected, the possibility for healing oneself, healing one another, and then ultimately helping to heal the planet becomes a reality, but not the other way around. We can't go out to fix it if this vessel is not aligned physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And that's one of the reasons I'm really healthy. I am plant-based. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't put dissociative drugs in my body. I sleep well. I meditate. I train. I do breath work. I do cold plunges. I hang out with high vibe community. I sing, I dance, I move. I use really constructive, empowering language so I don't make myself a victim and self-limit myself. I'm always a student, and anyone from a tiny little tot to the oldest person or craziest person always has something to teach me. Like, I believe that if I walk with that level of devotion within my life, that which comes forth from me will be beautiful and will be abundant. But it has to start with that. And I think that's one of the messages I really like people to get is don't go out there looking for it. The answer is right here in all your senses and your spiritual senses.
Well, I want to hear more. I can see why the guy would ask for a second podcast about that. Was there origins to this? Like, did this like come in conjunction? Did the ocean teach you this? Is this based on a few books?
Generally, if someone says, "Did you read this book?" 95% chance I'm going to say no.
Okay. And
it's not because I don't believe in books. Sometimes you happen to walk a path where you get direct access, if you allow it. I call it hearing, not hearing, but being hearing. When you're fully physically, emotionally, intellectually present, the teaching that is available to you from that plant, that wall, from you, from anything, that just goes off the charts. There's so much wisdom and knowledge within every fiber of the universe. It's like this incredible fabric, mycelium, that is speaking to us always, but not just here. It's not the call of a whale. It's being in the field of a whale. It's being held in the ocean. And it took me years of first trying to go fix the planet with my journalism and expose and show and force people to change, to surrendering and realizing a little baby manta ray, I remember it told me, it said, "I really appreciate you trying to save me. We don't need saving. You need healing. Please go do your work." And I was like,
you said a baby manta ray told you that. Can you how that happened?
It was late afternoon in Papua, the heart of Coral Triangle, epicenter of marine biodiversity. And I'm sun setting and I'm swimming along a little reef, and this little baby manta ray, not even as big as this table, comes swimming out to me. And I'm like, "Whoa, hey." And it puts its wing right over my head, and I look and it taps me and it gets stunned and it rolls up underneath me. And for the next 3 to 4 minutes, I'm belly to belly with this little manta ray, and our eyes lock. And I had my camera in my hand. These are all filmed. People are like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Look at the footage." And I just left it running, and I'm just finning slowly. And the baby manta ray is underneath me, and we just lock eyes. And I'm looking at this little being. This being's never met a human before. It's barely just born. And manta rays they have the largest brain of any shark array. They're highly intelligent social beings. And the belly is the most vulnerable part. And it's just showing me her belly. And I just remember floating along. And I remember in that moment, I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to save you. And I just heard this voice as if spoken, but it was like in my being. And it was like, thank you. And that's not what we're here for. You think you're saving us, but we're here to help you learn how to heal. I was like, and I just started crying. And then our eyes stayed locked and the baby stopped swimming. And manta rays and sharks sink if they don't swim. And I'm just floating above this baby and she just starts plummeting towards the reef. Completely eyes transfixed on me. And I'm just looking and she's about to hit the reef. And I energetically was like, you're going to hit the reef. And it caught herself and then turned. And now I'm above her. And then she turns around, looks at me and as if, aren't you going to come? And I'm like, I can't breathe water yet. She was like, okay, lesson over. And then I watched, she did a little wing flap and then she just disappeared into the blue. And I was like, wow, there's an entire encyclopedia right there. There's a book. And I just sat with that and I meditated on that. And that became this transformative moment for me where I realized filming's great and I do my film work. I need to be here with these beings. And that's taken me to humpback whales and southern right whales and blue whales and sperm whale families. I babysitted a humpback whale for 3 hours while its mom took a sleep. Babysitted a humpback whale. I had a sperm whale come and cuddle with me for 30 minutes. And these stories go on. I had a whale shark kiss me in the middle of the 10 miles off the coast of Timor for 3 hours. Kissing me.
What kind of shark?
Whale shark.
Oh, whale shark, okay.
3-meter whale shark, 10-foot whale shark, a juvenile. Came up to my boat, was rubbing on the boat. I got in, and then for the next 3 hours, she followed me around and just kept kissing me. And all of this started happening when I learned that it wasn't about me projecting my experience there, but me surrendering this I and allowing myself to fully dissolve into what is real, which is the shared consciousness, the all consciousness. We are not separate. And as soon as I let go of that concept, they're like, oh, you're one of us. You're a whale. You're a whale shark. You're a manta ray. Come play with us. Oh, here's my baby. Babysit my baby. And everything transformed my life. And I started to realize that these are the ancient teachings in their purest form. These are what it means to be fully alive, fully connected, to be absolutely intricately meshed in with that beautiful fabric. And the more we do that, the abundance in our hearts and our spirits, the healing that happens in our bodies, you reverse age. You start sucking in and drawing in the power, the chi of the universe, because you turned on the faucet and you opened up the pipeline. And I was like, wow, if only other people could understand that. And I realized my work has now become not saving the ocean, which was this sort of masculine warrior thing, but actually inviting people into a place of healing and connection. And from that, their desire to protect those things they love will manifest in that work.
So the ocean bloom.
Yeah.
That's how this is seeming to be all this is being actualized.
As one form, yes.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I do films. I'm building my life dream, which is a 3-part streaming service story about whales and the teachings of the whales and how they connect ocean systems and connect cultures and connect people. It's a multi-million-dollar series. And I just started filming it.
Wow.
So my ultimate expression is I want to get it out to the planet in all languages, in all forms, so that people can feel what I feel. And maybe from that place of wholeness, come back into service, not extraction from Mother Earth.
Can you tell me about the babysitting situation?
Yeah. I might cry. I'd spent about 2 weeks in the Kingdom of Tonga, which is near Fiji in the South Pacific. And every winter, southern winter, the humpback whales migrate up from Antarctica, their feeding grounds, to these island groups. And the mothers give birth to their babies in the shallow coral reef areas for protection. And there's a couple places in the world where you can swim with them. Kingdom of Tonga is one of them. And I've been going there for about 15 years and just incredible experiences. And I thought I was deeply connected. But a few years ago, when I really transformed into this journey of not capturing the story, but becoming one with the experience, it all shifted. And I remember it was the last day of the trip and everyone had gone home. It was just me. I dropped in the water at like 6:30 in the morning and the sun had barely crested the ocean, the horizon. And I see this mother and baby just floating. And I'm like, no hurry. And I just stopped swimming. And the current just happened to be working in my favor. And it just drew me closer and closer to them. And as I got closer, really, really slowly, I just was doing slow deep breathing and just opening myself up and really settling into the water. I just felt the mother just witnessed me in this way that was really profound. And she came up with her baby and she brought her baby like this, tucked on her nose right to me, this close. I could scratch the barnacles on her nose. And now imagine something the size of a school bus with something the size of a VW Beetle draped on its nose. And I just remember the baby, I look at the baby and the baby's eyes are fast asleep. And the mother's eyes are wide open, just staring at me. And I'm just transfixed. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I heard this voice again. And people are like, you're anthropomorphizing, you're ultra spirit. I'm like, no, I heard this voice. That's mine to hear. And it was like, I'm Mother Whale. I'm like, yeah, of course. She goes, but did you know that you are Mother Whale? I'm like, what? She goes, we are all Mother Whale, and this is our baby. So of course you can care for this baby. And I just, again, tears of salt matching the ocean, filling my mask. And then she dropped down to about 30 feet, and the baby just started playing with me. And for about 10, 20 minutes, the baby was chasing me around, trying to pick me up, trying to hug me. And then when the baby got tired, mommy would come up, pick up the baby and hold the baby, let it rest. And then she'd go back down. And this happened for 3 hours in a row. And if they came up apart from me, she would turn and bring the baby back to wherever I was floating. And she trusted me with her baby. And I just remember after a few hours, the water's like 72 degrees and I'm just in neoprene. Not in neoprene, I'm in Lycra. I'm cold. And I'm like, I ask her, and at this point we have this just energetic conversation. I'm like, when does this end? And she goes, I'm not leaving you. I'm like, what do you mean you're not leaving me? She goes, I know in your life, you've always had this feeling like just when it's time, the thing you love is taken away and it leaves you. This time you get to be full, completely full. So I won't leave until you're ready to leave. And that just broke my heart right open. I'm like, you're not leaving. And eventually it got to this point where I was like, so cold, but also like so full. Like it was the best thing ever. And there's nothing left in my tissue that needs anything more. And she was floating down at 30 feet and I swam down below and I came up and I just looked in her eye and I was like, I'm ready. She's like, okay. And I swam to the surface and the moment I turned away, she picked up her baby and she swam out of the bay into the ocean. And that was it.
Wow. What date was that?
2023, September. I think it was September 23rd.
Man. I'm so just like, there's so many whale breeds and everything in my mind. Remind me, what breed was this?
Humpback.
The humpback. When I see whales off of Maui on the North Shore in the winter, humpbacks, okay. Yeah. When I see whales off Cabo in January,
humpbacks.
Now, when I see whales off Diamond Beach in Iceland, in August.
That would be humpbacks.
Humpbacks? Are there orcas as well?
There's orcas.
Are there orcas?
For sure. 100% orcas.
I may have seen an orca there
There's
once.
definitely orcas and humpbacks, but you also have minkies and fin whales up there, but they're usually further off the coast.
Because there are lots of seals swimming in Iceland. You've spent time in Iceland? Is that or not?
I haven't been to Iceland since they resumed commercial whaling.
I've heard different things about that. Like it goes back and forth.
And then it went off again. and then it came back on again, then went off again. There's just one guy there who gets off on killing sentient animals. Sort of that deep, broken masculine, because I can. He does it because he can. Can't even sell the product.
What whale is that? Is it a specific one or different?
Minke and fin whales.
Both,
Yeah.
either or.
Yeah.
What about the shark situation in Iceland where they kill the old one?
The Greenland sharks.
Yeah.
500-year-old sharks use as firewood.
But then don't they do something with they ferment them and sell them as like a delicacy?
Yeah, they ferment some of the meat. Yeah, those sharks are the oldest sharks ever.
And they kill them?
Oh, yeah.
They kill those for that meat.
Yeah. Because they need them. Because they want to.
And what about the firewood part? What were you saying?
Yeah, they dry them and they're oily because to survive in super cold water, you have to have a lot of oil in your body. And so they let them like dry and then they burn them. Fuel.
Wow.
It's really screwed up.
Okay. And now you said you were plant-based.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're a vegetarian or a
vegan?
Vegan.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that for?
I was vegetarian for 20 years and I've been vegan for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And
Does that mean like you don't eat honey? Like if I brought you honey?
I'll have a little bit of honey, but not. That's like the exception.
Okay.
Because we're not killing anything to take that.
Yeah. What about the elk antler? I brought elk antler. Would you take?
Nah, I don't want elk.
They don't kill the elk for that.
I'm the strongest I've been in decades.
Well, I am. It's funny. Do you know Darren O'Lean? Darren O'Lean from Shakeology, and he did like this show with Zac Efron.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So considering what you just told me, and then knowing Darren, I would say y'all are like the two best. The two best like show offs of how you can thrive on a vegetarian diet, even at an older age.
More so.
That's most of the other guys I know they're old and thriving. Like you're older and thriving. Like you remind me a lot of Laird Hamilton.
Yeah,
he's not a vegan or a vegetarian, but he reminds me a lot of Darren.
Yeah,
who is.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Hey, I'm an investigative journalist here. I've tried, I have tried vegan diets for extended period of times. And then now I sell actually bison organs and elk organs inside of capsules as like the ultimate multivitamin.
Yeah. The product is not that it doesn't exist in animals, but for me, it's the reason I became plant-based is I'm a highly energetic person, like extremely sensitive. And whatever I put in my body, I don't just feel the energy of the nutrient. I feel the energy of what was in it. And so most of what we eat now, I think a wild elk will have a very different life.
This is interesting, by the way, what you're saying.
But if you have something that was raised in slavery and tortured, like dairy, milk, and all that I experience that trauma, and I feel it in my body, and I feel it affecting my health and my mental state. And I remember when I was meditating with the river, and I asked, it's like, in terms of what I put in my body, and what the river told me was, as long as you honor us and keep your vessel clear, the animals will continue. I had a best friend, a deer was a best friend of mine for 2 years, and we would sit on my porch every day for 10 minutes.
Here?
In Boulder, yeah.
Okay.
I have a friend that's a fox. I went for a hike with a mountain lion.
Now we're talking a new language. Is that here in Boulder as well?
Yeah. And
you went on a hike with
a wild mountain lion, yeah. I'd been meditating above my property on Old Stage every day for about a month. And for about a week, I kept feeling something watching me as I had my eyes closed looking from the ridge up at Longs Peak. I'm like, I know you're here. And then the next day, I came up early in the morning and I'm hiking up the hill and I had my little meditation music in my ears with Hear Through. And then I just look over and I'm like, and just right on the trail, this little like animal trail is on its haunches is a mountain lion just staring at me. And it was like 20 feet away. And I'm like, and my first reaction was, I knew you were there. And I had this sense of joy and gratitude. And then this like, thank you for caring for this land, for keeping the deer herds in management, for keeping this entire system and for toughing out the intrusion that we brought to your home and staying here. And the mountain lion looked at me and my heart rate didn't even move a beat. It was just poof. And just my body flooded with all these beautiful, happy hormones and chemicals. And I could just see it staring at me. And it was like, well, you're not afraid of me. I didn't feel any fear. And you're not a threat to me. You're like part of the land. I'm like, yeah. So it got up, kind of looked over its shoulder, turned around, and then I walked up and started walking behind it. And for about 5 minutes, we walked along this trail, this deer trail along the ridge. And it would just look over its shoulder at me, and I'd just be like, and then finally it got to the edge of where the pine trees are on the north side. It got to the edge where the pine trees are on the north side of the ridge. And it kind of looked back and it pounced into the woods. And I came right up, and then I was about to just walk into the woods, and I was like, that's where the journey ends. I was like, the mountain lion said goodbye. And I just tuned right into the shift of energy. And I was like, that's where it ended.
You remind me of the Jungle Boy with that story.
Kind of.
Is it? What's the movie? What's the famous Jungle Book? Jungle Book.
Jungle
and
Book,
what's the Tarzan? Is that Tarzan?
Well, Tarzan's in Tarzan.
There's
I forget the name of the kid in Jungle Book.
Yeah. No, that's the
something.
Anyways.
But part of the reason that story matters is I have a contract with Mother Nature, which is I'm not consuming her animals. I'm a vessel of as clear energy as possible. And it's not that I don't think there's integrity ways to do that. For me, I believe that the systems as we've created them largely today are deeply out of integrity for the most part. Factory farming and slavery it's versus someone out in the wilderness in a fair height hunt, taking down a bison or a deer. It's complete. We use that story to justify factory farming, and the two are just completely different. And for me, the path was, I have a spiritual agreement that I will have this kind of access if I honor my vessel. I'm not a threat to any animal on earth, so they could all. I made friends with an anemone fish on my last trip, and it was sitting on my finger. And I brought it right to my eye, and people were like, I've never seen that before. Because I'm not going to ever consume it. There's nothing in my being that is consuming it. So the access that I get, maybe that's my story, but it's working.
Yeah, it seems to be, and I love that story. I love it, and funny enough, like for someone that might not accept the gift of some of the tribe vitamin products, you're actually arguably your response to it is one of the best testimonies ever, because most people that sell similar products are actually getting them from retired New Zealand dairy cows. Yeah. And we're not. We're getting the byproducts of bison that are being raised for steak, that are grass-fed, grass-finished. They're not being killed for us, but this gets convoluted. Yeah. And then, or elk. Yeah. Elk, and some of the elk are actually wild, and they are harvested like with basically a USDA inspector on site. Yeah. And private land. But I agree with you about the essence. Yeah. When I learned about the idea of ancestral supplements, like the Native Americans would have prized. Yeah. I was like, well, that's not New Zealand dairy cow organs.
No, that's the opposite. I mean, that is literally the opposite. Even if they are chemically similar, they are energetically entirely different. You take two humans that are physiologically the same and say you're the same people. Let's get real. No, you're completely different humans, completely different essence. And people don't tend to value that anymore. It's like veneer is all that they value. It's what's within.
And here's another question for you. In the early 1900s, bison were almost extinct. Yeah. And the bison population keeps growing. Yeah. And one of the ways I see that, especially there's a niche bison industry, and that's where they don't feed them grain. Yeah. So that's where Tribe Vitamins sources their products from. Yeah. I see it on my current path by putting more demand on that. Yeah. There are more potential bison. The bison population will grow. Yeah. The herd grows overall. Yeah. Especially by really pinpointing the voting of the dollars to the 100% grass-fed, grass-finished bison. They're like basically living like their ancestors lived.
Yeah. And then they are living in right relation to the land. And right relation is a indigenous concept that should be on all of us concept. Are we in right relation? And the stories I've told you are coming down to me choosing whenever I have the choice as best as I can, being a flawed human, of course, to be in right relation with myself, with others, with the land, with the water. Well, cattle and dairy cows are not ever going to be in right relation with the land here. Sorry. They're not even from this continent. But bison and elk were always in right relation. In fact, the land depended upon their hooves in the sand and their excrement and their whole trampling and moving in order to actually regenerate the prairies and all that. And we've largely destroyed that. And cattle don't, as much as people push the regenerative farming stuff, traditional cattle do not in any way resemble bison or elk in the way that they treat the land, the way they work the land, the way they eat the food. And so you're getting a fraction of that regenerative benefit that you do from these really like native species that belong in these lands. It's not even close.
I see that the same way.
Yeah.
Hence the path that I'm on with Tribe Vitamins.
Yeah.
And if you want the honey, it's awesome Southern Colorado honey.
Yeah. That looks great. I'll take that.
All right. So 55 minutes. Do you want to try some of these popcorn questions?
Whatever feels good.
Yeah, I want to do that. I mean, where's the best place for people to follow you? And it's interesting, like right off the bat, you said you don't do this for raising money necessarily. That's not the main reason. That's an outcome.
Yeah.
Like right when I was with my friend Caleb and his mom, and I was showing my daughter, who I was like, check out this guy, some of his on your Instagram, check out some of this stuff on his Instagram. I was just showing some of the videos, and Caleb's mom right away was like, oh, so you said he raises money. How do I donate?
Yeah.
I was like, wow. If I was like trying to sell her something, I don't know if she would have been interested. So can you tell the Breaking Normal audience about how to contribute to the cause here? Wow.
So a number of years ago, a friend of mine, close friend, said, hey, we need to amplify your work. And I'm like, okay, how do we do that? And he goes, let's start a foundation. I'm like, oh God, not another foundation. He's like, no, we'll do it the way you want to do it. And I'm like, well, I want one that is collaborative, that's additive, that's community-based, that builds on and amplifies the work of others so that we get more and more of a chorus creating the choir. It's like, okay, we'll do that. And so years later now, we have a foundation. It's about 30 people. It's called Only One. And I founded that foundation. We have an amazing team. I have a CEO and all the folks that are doing all the things to make it work. And we work in countries across the world tackling some of the biggest issues facing our oceans today, from climate to large-scale marine protected areas, to protection of the high seas, to destructive fisheries, to ocean plastics, all the big ones. And we're working with governments and 150 NGOs around the world in partnership to drive some of the most pivotal policy of our time to safeguard the oceans. And it's been incredibly successful. It's been a hard slog, but we've really hit our stride. And now we're one of the biggest players in ocean conservation. And that started with just a few people saying, hey, how do we amplify? And so it's called Only.One. And you can donate right there. You can go on the page. You can see the stories, the work we do. And any way you want to contribute, you can sign petitions, you can lobby for changes in America or whatever country you live in. And you can also donate money to help support the work.
Wow. Thank you. And then what about personally? If someone wants to reach out or?
I think the easiest way to follow me is at my Instagram. I have web pages. I don't have time to maintain them. I'm just doing my thing. So Instagram at Shawn Heinrichs, ShawnHeinrichs. If you put it on the thing.
Great. Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. And another product here that Yovella even has for every guest that I'm actually out of this currently is that I use this as sunscreen or tallow, but is that not these? I have a pet peeve with people with the sunscreens.
Yeah.
And the water, is this affecting the oceans or reefs or not? And because when I went to like certain parts of Maui or Australia, like these spray things that I see people at Eben G. Fine Park using in the summer,
they're gnarly.
I think they're illegal there. Are they not? Can you know about this? Or
there's a lot of forever type chemicals. The things that make a lot of sunscreens work is that they don't go away very quickly. So, and they don't break down in water and sweat very quickly. Well, that stuff, when you go in the water, dissolves into the water and settles on the reefs, and they wreak havoc on all of the zooxanthella and all the little microorganisms that make up the reef structures. And they wind up creating these dead zones. And more than that, a lot of that stuff's just really bad for you. People are like,
I'm like, what do you?
shouldn't I wear more sunscreen? I'm like, no, dose your sunlight and
There you
be
go.
depending on your skin, but don't block it all the time. We have a massive vitamin D deficiency that's going around the world now, where so many people are not getting enough actual vitamin D. And I don't know, I feel like I'm doing pretty well with it. And I'm on the ocean a lot, and I'm not layering myself with a bunch of that gnarly stuff.
Yeah, I'm on that team of getting people to use like food for their skin.
Yeah.
And the sun dosing and like there's something to be said also that salt water. Like if you just don't want to go like on a concrete deck and get the sun from 12 to 1 in the middle of summer out of nowhere. There is a dosing,
Yeah.
and we are solar panels, in my opinion.
I hike shirtless every month of the year. And people are like, what are you trying to show off? I'm like, no.
Yeah, we have the same situation.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually condition myself and keep my skin and my body in sync with the season, and also my thermoregulation and all that. And people are like, isn't that uncomfortable? And I'm like, well, what important thing in your life did you ever do that was in comfort?
Well, here's a question. This is a fun breaking number one. Sometimes I agree. Like I would personally mostly be naked if the conditions are correct, because that's how I feel like is healthiest for my body.
That's what we're born for.
But being in town and the laws, like a lot of times I am shirtless, and a lot of times it gets a little cultural. I just wonder if you've had this issue. Like,
Oh yeah.
am I offending husbands? Like, because I'm shirtless at the playground?
Yeah.
Am I like, because, like there's like couples that take their kids to go play at the playground there, but they're not playing. They're just sitting there on their phone with their shirts on and their heads down.
Really?
But I'm like at the playground, the same reason
They got
the
their
kids
button
are.
up on their phone and they're drinking their soda.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Really
I am
great.
not here to offend your husband.
Yeah.
But I am being shirtless at the playground,
Yeah.
as naked as I can legally be,
Yep.
in the sun, having fun,
Yep.
is extremely important to me. And it's not
Me too.
about like an ego thing. But sometimes I wonder if it gets like interpreted that way.
I just don't care. Because if you're shaming me or feeling shame around a really natural thing that when I travel to indigenous cultures around the world, they're all doing, including the women, by the way,
Mhm.
like, and now you're shaming me. Well, who needs to look at who? And I would rather stand for what I believe in than be silenced by a majority that I feel is largely out of connection.
Rasta. Were you signaling me?
Yeah, it's too good a podcast to make that one episode. I think you need to build up for another episode next week.
Oh, then next week. I don't know if I have it next week in Boulder. I'm leaving Tuesday.
It's Monday.
Yeah,
It's the best episode, I think.
I would say this is one of my favorite episodes too.
I'm loving it.
Like I don't try to be judgmental in the moment, but like listen, like I just knew from the beginning, some reason, even kind of before I came in, I was like, this is like one of the best Breaking Normal podcast episodes.
Feels really
ever.
good. Feels really good. Yeah, it's what we're talking about, things that matter to people's lives, and I think they need to hear this. It's good for them.
Well, talking about another man that I'm remembering the future of getting on the Breaking Normal podcast that seems to be aging really well in the ocean, that spends a lot of time in Bali, that I ran into him in Encinitas about 10 days ago, and it's probably been about 10 years since I've seen him. And I'm wearing a shirt right now that was made in Bali from organic cotton, as far as I know. Rob Machado, are you connecting with Rob Machado?
I'm not.
Man, that guy. He was the guy, they made a documentary about him called Drifter.
Oh, I heard of that.
Yeah, and he's grown was a kid in Encinitas, one of the best surfers in the world. I think competing with Kelly Slater at one point.
Yeah.
And then just dropped off. Like kind of he stopped. He was not surfing for that purpose anymore.
Yeah.
And then it seems like that's when he got all the attention.
Yeah.
And all I can tell from this man is like every time I see him once a decade, I'm like, he seems to keep looking healthier.
Yeah.
And I think it was the same thing when I met him, I feel like I met the ocean. I think he might spend like 8 hours a day in the ocean.
What a legend.
I don't know if that's true, but I hope to get him on the show
Sounds
when I
right.
go back to San Diego.
Sounds right.
I'm like curious about all the legends you're connected with on all your journeys. Holy mackerel.
There's some good folks out there.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they go out to conquer and change something, and then they realize that there was a deep inner spiritual journey that was way more important, and that they come back to the spiritual journey for themselves, and then they're like, now they're called to share that journey and share that wisdom and share those teachings in a way which is very different. It's an invitation versus a shame or blame or like, look at me. And I love it when people get to that point in their lives. And I think the people who are able to gracefully move from like that warrior to that really sort of more embodied wisdom elder, they tend to age in reverse. If you look at me 10 years ago, I looked a lot older. Like I was feeling the stress. I was trying to, and I was still trying to, and it's really about love. Being in love, not in love with someone, but actually walking in love, walking in devotion to that love.
Do you identify with a religious practice?
I don't have any specific religion. My temple is nature. So closest thing would be animism,
Wow.
where I believe the sacred spirit. I believe there is a higher power, but I believe it's everywhere. I believe God is in all of us. I believe God is everywhere and omniscient. God doesn't make mistakes. God is everywhere and all. And that I came from a Christian background, and I see so much power in spirituality. Like I really do. I don't like the lack of spirituality that is formed in certain communities, or the one there where it's very sort of neo-philosophies around like one like alien coming down and whatever. Now, I think we were already given our spirituality at birth. We were born into it. And we have incredible figures throughout history that have come forward and embodied spiritual religious features, that have embodied those principles in such profound ways to be teachers, really profound, important teachers. And that however you get it, if it's teaching you loving kindness, if it's teaching you to not do harm to others in the service of yourself, if it's teaching you fairness and it's teaching you to walk softly and kindly, wherever those teachings come from, they're the right teachings for you. And so I'm not anti-religion in any sense. Some people get that way. I'm actually very deeply spiritual. Choose your path that opens your spirituality so that you realize you're not alone on this walk, because you're not.
Do you believe in mermaids?
I have a best friend that's a mermaid. Hannah Mermaid.
Wait, why do I know Hannah Mermaid? Who is that?
Hannah Mermaid she lives in Los Angeles. She's an incredible human underwater performer, model.
Maybe I've just seen her on social media. Or
you would have seen her on TV shows
okay.
and social media everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
You would have seen her if you were in the ocean space in any way.
So mermaids, though.
She's a mermaid, yeah.
Because my daughter asked me if mermaids are real.
I've never seen one in the ocean that isn't also a human, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you understand where the idea comes from?
Yeah, the original stories, as far as we know, came from sea cows or manatees.
Okay.
And when you look at the face in the dark of like a manatee, it looks like two eyes and a smile and a nose. And when sailors came through in the dark and they saw the manatees that used to be all around the Americas, and then they saw a tail come up, they thought they were...
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And on that note, you reminded me of something. I love Hawaii. And I recently on the big island of Hawaii, I saw there's this like thing people are advertising of swimming with manta rays.
Manta rays, yeah.
Is that a good thing to do?
Yeah.
Is that so that's a tour worth taking probably?
100%.
And I think they're going at night.
Yeah.
And that's...
They put the lights out, the plankton come under them.
Okay.
The manta rays voluntarily come in.
All right, so this is a volunteer. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
They should like make that more clear in their advertising potentially. But
well, they're so full anyways, they probably aren't worried about making that clear.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's a good thing to make clear anyways.
Yeah, because I don't know what to think about. Like my best experiences with sea life is probably just being completely humbled and in awe and so intimidated, but so feeling safe with dolphins in the surf.
Yeah.
With dolphins in the surf.
Yeah. Yeah. Dolphins are amazing.
Oh my gracious.
I love dolphins. I've had some of the most incredible dolphin experiences. They are so awesome and so curious and so playful and so athletic. Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like,
I'm in awe of these beings and the way they can. We need a board. They got it all figured out. They do without a board.
Yeah. So when I hear about like different animal encounter tours, I'm like, I don't want to go to SeaWorld. I'm like, I'd rather go surfing first of all. Before we get into the whole whatever. I'd rather go surfing.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not going to sell me on that. Now, or yeah, the next thing is I have been to SeaWorld though. Yeah, when I was younger. Surfing is better. So this manta ray thing is a good idea. It sounds like that's cool.
Yeah, and it brings people in contact with wildlife in a non-contained scenario where they're eating their natural food. By the way, just the light happens to concentrate the food under the lights.
Okay.
And so you have this experience, and then after an hour or two, the manta rays go back and do their lives, and everyone who leaves there becomes a deeper ocean lover.
I'm in. I want to go do that.
It's
Eagle, my friend Eagle's on the Big Island right now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's probably listening to this.
Yeah.
When it comes out, and he might still be there if we can upload this sooner. And he's probably contemplating to do that or not.
I would.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Do you know Eagle, the disc golfer? He's a kind of a
No, I
local
don't.
legend in town too.
I don't.
He loves Hawaii. So who doesn't? What about the swimming in the manta rays? Is there a way not manta rays, is that what the manatees? Manatees. Is that a way to do that in a fun, ethical way?
If you go to like some of the springs up down in Florida,
That's what I've seen on the west coast of Florida.
Yeah, there's some beautiful springs where you can, like the Ginny Springs and things like that, where you can find manatees. The sad thing is manatees are disappearing from Florida's waters because of pollution, boat strikes, and just changing weather patterns. And so they're becoming less and less. And so as long as you're very careful not to like chase them, some people grab them and do really uncool things.
Mm-hmm.
If you're allowing the animal to approach, check you out, and if it wants to hang out, great. If it doesn't, let it go. You can have an amazing experience. It's when you try to control the experience and try to take. As soon as that energy enters any experience, right? Could you imagine going on a date with someone who's just trying to control and take you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you want to create something together. And my approach to wildlife is always that. I do a little bit of breathing before I get in the water. I take a deep breath in. I take in all the energy of the area around me, and I just breathe my ego out of me and let myself dissolve in. And then what does it feel like to want nothing, need nothing, and expect nothing, and be grateful for anything and everything? If you enter the water like that, it's like going surfing on a day where there's almost no swell. If you go with that attitude, you're going to find just that one little ripple wave. You'll ride it for a bit, but you've had dolphins come by. You've seen birds. You might even see a whale. And it turns out to be one of the best days of the week.
When I first started hosting retreats, our motto, our the itinerary, the whole itinerary was to expect nothing, experience everything. And people would book these trips to come with us for 3 nights and 4 days, and that's the only thing they knew. We just told them what airport, and that was the schedule.
I love that.
I know. I was projecting. I was like, if someone could give me that experience that I trust because I knew we were going to give them a great experience as best as we could.
Yeah.
I'm like, what an honor.
Wouldn't that be cool? Well,
and you can live this way. You can live this way, by the way. Just for anyone that's listening, you don't have to go on that retreat. You can actually start living that way right now. Yeah, that can actually happen starting right now. So we're past the time limit. That's what you were suggesting, to probably do another episode. We didn't even get to the popcorn questions. I almost want to view and see if I have one. Do you have any questions for me before we say till next time? I'm heading to San Diego. Where are you heading?
I live here.
I thought you were going to go see some sperm whales soon or something.
January.
Oh, January. That's
January 2nd.
January 2nd?
Yeah, I head out to the Dominica for sperm whales.
The Dominica, is that like a island in?
It's just north of. It's on the far eastern Caribbean, right where the Atlantic Ocean hits the Caribbean. So there's nothing. There's no more islands once you head further east from that island.
Okay.
And it's like St. Lucia is one of the main islands that people have heard of. They're volcanic.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the rest of the Caribbean, they are absolutely gobsmacking beautiful. They look like Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
200 waterfalls on this island.
Which one?
Dominica.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 200 waterfalls, right? 70% native forest, endemic bird species, and then around it are sperm whales. And there's licensed, permitted operators that you can go and experience sperm whales. And I'm doing film work there, and also taking some of my organizations, supporters, and philanthropists to come and experience them.
Wow, what an adventure you live.
I do. I have the best job on earth.
Joy of being.
It is very much what it is.
Do you have any questions for me?
I'm an intuitor, and through your questions, I mean, on a personal level, at some point, I want to hang out more and learn a lot more about your life. But at the moment, I love what you're doing here. I love the art of dialogue and story and conversation about things that matter, and slow food, not fast food, right? people get a chance to drop in, and maybe somebody will come away today, or your next guest or whatever, do something that matters with their lives in a way they haven't. And I kind of feel like that's what you're trying to do.
Thank you for that. And I believe that. And I also believe, although you don't have a religion you follow, it seems like, do you think there's some wisdom? What in the world? There was like a piece of bark in my hair. That's a good sign. Is there like, I feel like a religion in itself could be like, if you can go out to the ocean and swim in peace. I don't know if you feel this way. Can you just go swim off of, say, Hanalei Bay?
Yeah.
And just swim there as long as you want, float around without a surfboard. And
of course.
That would scare most people.
I imagine.
So to get to that point, that seems like a potential spiritual path for someone. You could reverse engineer it.
Hugely spiritual.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
Instead of maybe someone trying to understand Buddha, if they could just go swim in the ocean at peace.
That's why I'm an animist at heart, which is, I believe, animism is like animal, right? It's the belief of the spirit is in all animated life. So it's in every moving part of life. So when you're in the water and all the beings, and you're in the earth and you have the trees and the bugs and the leaves, and all of that is God. And if you can allow yourself to feel that within yourself everywhere, you don't need to search further. And when you're just floating in that water, you are at peace because you're fully held.
But isn't it dangerous to go just swim out in the ocean like that?
Is it dangerous to walk around Boulder in the wind today? I had a large object come through my kitchen window 2 nights ago. Yeah.
You live up kind of in the mountains. It sounds like we experienced 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts yesterday, and maybe or 2 days ago. So what flew through your window?
Some large structure from a house that was made of concrete and wood. That was a cylinder about 3.5 feet across and about 4 feet tall. Weighs 150 pounds. Was tossed through the air, came crangling down the hill, came smashing into my window in my kitchen.
Everyone was safe.
It was in 2 a.m. It sounded like someone had just thrown a Molotov through the window. Yeah. It was pretty stark.
Yeah, it's gnarly out right now.
And I was like, that's scary.
Yeah, it is.
Being in the ocean feels safe.
I guess the side effect of life is dying, right?
Yeah. Now, I've been with a dozen tiger sharks in something twice the size of this room. I've been swimming with great whites and mako shark. I've been with all of them.
Well, that's the question with the communication with animals you've had. This is a question I can leave you with. Has everyone said, eat me? And has everyone said, I'm going to eat you?
No, never.
Because that happens historically.
Yeah, it's never happened.
To you. And do you think it's because that agreement you're saying that, hey, I'm not.
We're in reciprocity. We're in a deeply.
That's something.
Yeah, well, people keep saying this animal's different. I have not yet met an animal, including mountain lion, that turned out to be different the way they told me it was different. It's us who are different. We are no longer in resonance with anything for the most part. And if anything threatens us, we are even more deeply out of relation with that animal. But if you can meet that animal, in my belief, with full resonance, full receptivity, without aggression, without retreat, you can be in relation with any animal on this earth.
I think I talked to a bear once.
I believe it.
And I like how because it wasn't in English, but I think it was asking me, what are you so close to me for? Like both of us, like why? Because I had 2 cubs.
Yeah.
And it kind of like ran at me a little bit and then pivoted. And I was like so startled too, as I was in the dark. And I just shined my line. I remember saying, what the fuck? And all I felt in my body was like, why are we so close to each other? But I don't think I think the bear was saying that to me.
Yeah.
Why are you so close?
Yeah, you nailed it. You were listening.
And that was loud. It was not in English, but it was loud.
That's the voice.
Yeah.
That voice is there always. And rivers have it, and mountains have it, and bears have it, and bugs have it. I have a bird that's a magpie that hung out with me for about a month. Like, they all have it. If we listen, and I think when they find a human that is listening, it changes everything. Suddenly they're like, oh, you're like us. You listen. And you're like, yeah, I am. And the moment you get out of that and go, oh, I'm listening, then you lose it. But when you actually just stay in it. But it takes a lot of quiet time, and it takes that voice up here taking a nap and letting go and letting go of all this and just instead of this, open palms. I got you. I'm here, but you're free.
Can you leave us in the audience with a suggestion of how someone to get in tune with that?
Yeah. My practice, and I shared a little bit of this practice, is every morning I step outside, and if it's cold, and I'm barefoot. If it's snow, if it's rain, I don't care. And I breathe in whatever is happening in my world. I close my eyes and I breathe it in and I exhale it out. And I exhale whatever's my resistance is to what's happening, what is. I exhale that out into the space. And I open my palms and I'm as naked as I can be. And in my house, I'm in the hill. I'm naked. And I don't care if it's minus 20 or 100 degrees. I'm just out there and I am coming into resonance every day with what is around us. And that changes your life. The breath, sun, the wind, the air, and the intentionality by which you meet the land or the water that you're in. We can choose that. Don't jump on your phone. Don't message everyone. Don't take care of everything and then do it. Start with that practice. And from that, whatever your frequency that you cultivate within yourself, you bring that to everything else. But if you fill yourself with all those chaotic frequencies, you become that, and that becomes you, and that becomes your world.
Wow. Thank you, Shawn. You're definitely walking the talk.
Every day that I choose to, I am, yes. And I'm trying to.
And you're breaking normal. I'll sign this book for you.
I would love that.
Keep breaking normal, y'all.
And I will read that book.
Oh yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, I think it's a great book.
I'm excited to read that book.
Yeah.
Your book.
It was born in San Diego, and that's where I'm going back in a couple of days. So,
Great.
And I'm going to be spending time in the ocean there in Solana Beach. Anything to look out specifically for near Solana Beach and Encinitas this time of the year?
Well, I mean, you've got the seals, obviously,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think those are some of the coolest animals. You should still have dolphins coming around, pods of them working their way up and down the shore. And at this time of year, we are in December. I think the gray whales should be starting their way down, right? The gray whales are coming down the coast, right?
Potentially. I have a feeling.
Gray whales should be making their way down because they calf in February, March, April down in Baja.
Okay.
So they should be coming by. And then humpback whales should be coming by. Depends on how far offshore you're looking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot going on up there.
What about the stingray shuffle? Do you recommend that to you? Or
On the
been
sand?
stung by a stingray? That's a thing in San Diego.
My daughter stood on one. My friend almost lost his foot because it got gangrenous.
Oh, that must have not been in San Diego, is my guess. Was it somewhere else?
No, it was down in San Diego.
It was?
It just the sting can go from painful if it's not treated immediately and properly. It can get infected, and then it can get. I mean, he went through 4 reconstructive surgeries on his foot.
Whoa.
He's like a story now. There's like things written about him.
Wow. Yeah, those. I believe in the stingray shuffle.
Yeah.
Another way of being conscious in the
Don't
ocean,
step,
like shuffling.
slide your feet.
Yeah, because I've hit a few. I've hit many like that, and it was a good jolt through my body. It was like, oh yeah, that's a powerful being right there. Like I felt it in my foot. Like whoa,
you feel a little flop, flop.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, that thing is pure muscle. It feels like.
Oh, yeah, they're all muscle.
All right, cut us off, Yavel. See you soon, y'all. Keep breaking normal. Stay safe in the wind, in the ocean, and stay dangerous. Let's go.